Peace, everybody. Listen to the hypocrisy. It's okay to disrespect an African American if he's conservative. Imagine if Senator Tim Scott was a Democrat. It's real shocking, especially coming from the View. Pete.
Now, the attacks keep coming at Senator Tim Scott for his rebuttal of the president's speech to Congress. Just listen to what co-hosts of The View had to say. It's astonishing. Roll tape.
Now, Tim Scott, he does not seem to understand, and a lot of them don't seem to understand, the difference between a racist country and a systemic racism. And the fact...
Now, racist country and systemic racism. He doesn't understand. So you say to her, someone who dressed up in blackface for a party years ago, makeup and an afro, what was that? A racial joke? They call it cultural appropriation, but she gets away with it. The same way Cuomo's getting away with all that sexual stuff because he's a Democrat. People have to understand what's going on. You know what I'm saying? One side gets away with shit, the other side doesn't. So here's Joy Behar preaching to Senator Tim Scott about racism.
That Tim Scott cannot acknowledge this is appalling. He was...
Now, also, you got to remember, they're saying systemic racism. They're saying let me Sonny speak.
Because he is the only black Republican senator.
And right. So Sonny says he was chosen because he's the only black Republican senator. That's racist. To say that he was chosen because of that reason, So it's just like they chose Cameron to speak at the RNC. Did she choose Cameron to speak at the RNC? I think it's Kentucky's AG because he's African American. Nah, Senator Tim Scott was chosen because Senator Tim Scott might be next up for 2022 or possibly 2024. They've been putting Senator Tim Scott up front since last year, 2020 and 2019, because he had the economic zones. He drafted the legislation for empowerment or economic zones in African American communities, which was kind of like parallel to Ice Cube's Platinum Plan for the black community. So Sonny's disingenuous. You got to see, like systemic racism. She's a woman of color on The View. Whoopi is a woman of color on The View. Joy Reid is a woman of color on MSNBC. Al Sharpton, man of color on MSNBC. Don Lemon on CNN. Systemic racism would mean that none of them would have been on television because the system would have been so racist that it wouldn't have them on. You understand what I'm saying? So just that alone is bullshit. Systemic racism into racist countries. So why are millions of people in the middle of a pandemic are flying or however they're getting to Mexico so they can walk up into the United States, into this systemically racist country? You got to understand what they're telling you. A country where you have billionaires like Kanye, Jay-Z, rich people, Master P, P. Diddy. You know what I'm saying? They're telling you that that's systemic racism. A country that has Vernon Jordan, Angela Stanton, you know what I'm saying? Burgess Owens. That's a systemic racist country. One more thing. Systemic racism. Billionaire Bob Johnson and the late Vernon Jordan, they just recently passed away. Both of them supported 45 within this systemically racist country. Wake the fuck up.
He knows that.
All right, Mike Huckabee joins us. I don't know why he's got a smile on his face, because I'm not happy about what we just saw. Look, Senator Scott had to say, that story's still got legs. He said it 2 days ago, and it's got legs because Senator Scott called out the left's insistence that America's a bad place. I'm cheering him on, and I bet you are too.
You can't even imagine how loud I'm cheering for him, because I've known Tim Scott for quite a while. I was the first person to endorse him when he ran for Congress back in South Carolina a few years ago, because I saw in him not a black person, but a remarkable person who had overcome a lot of things in his life to become really an outstanding American. I tell you, Joy Behar might ought to sit this one out, because you may remember a few years ago, she got in a little trouble for dressing up as an African woman and pretending to be black. And so I guess that gives her a better understanding of what being black means than Tim Scott, who actually is. I just find this whole thing.
Oh, about 3 weeks ago, some liberal decided to dig into Senator Tim Scott's past because he says that he's 2 generations or 3 generations away from picking cotton because his great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather was picking cotton in the South. And now he's a legislature in the United States Senate. This liberal went to the hometown of the family and dug and dug and dug to see if his story was true. And you know what he found? It was. But when he drafted the story, he worded it in a way where you wouldn't really get the acknowledgement like, okay, his great-grandfather did pick cotton. He went into some other alley with it. But you see, they dumpster dive to try to find. And when they don't find, they use the wordplay to manipulate the masses. And that's why the masses are fucked up in the head right now.
Beyond stunning, Stu. And the biggest thing that I think is the takeaway is that the left doesn't want to acknowledge that black people can think for themselves and that they might have a view of America that's quite uplifting and positive.
That's why I don't like Kanye, because Kanye wasn't following the herd. It's about policies. It's not about people. Perfect example, we're in a new administration. Fuck people. But look at the policies that's been going on. All this economic boom shit, you'd have to be a retard to think the economic boom is a result of this new administration. It's too early. It's too early. This is all stuff from the past administration. Let's look and see what happens next year in 2022.
Senator Scott made that speech. Social networks had an enormous explosion of racist posts. Twitter took 11 hours to take down those racist posts. The NAACP, Black Lives Matter, they did not defend Senator Scott from.
But there's the thing: the NAACP and Black Lives Matter did not support Senator Tim Scott, an accomplished black man. Why? Because it's not part of their agenda. Their agenda is not a black agenda. Their agenda is a liberal-directed agenda. This is what people have to understand, man. Liberals run this shit. Liberals run the media, So this is why you can see 46 could do no wrong. Right now, you can see even almost having us on the brink of war, Russia going at us, China going at us, but you would never see it on TV. But they said that 45 was the warmonger that was going to have us in war with North Korea and all these other countries, and nothing happened. But what happens with this guy? They've been disrespecting this guy, moving troops to the border by Crimea. You know what I'm saying? China went to Alaska and disrespected us. You know what I'm saying? Using the left's narratives against us. The shit was hilarious, actually. Really shockingly hilarious. But yeah, man. So when you talk about, on another note with Black Lives Matter and NAACP, all those kids that just recently died in them gang shootouts, McDonald's drive-thru, the young girl that got shot, all these people. Ask yourself, why aren't the pictures of those children who have recently died on social media pages or the website of NAACP or Black Lives Matter? Wouldn't you think that little 7-year-old girl's lives matter to the point where they would put that? No, because it doesn't fit the narrative. It was gang violence. So because it was black on black, it doesn't fit the narrative of police are killing everybody. Police are killing everybody. Mind you, these are the same people. If someone is breaking in their back door, they call in 911. They call in 911. And that's a super fact.
These attacks. That is astonishing. That shows you there's a massive divide between black folks who are Republicans and black folks who are Democrats.
And black folks like me who are registered independent, who are able to be in the middle, see both sides, and see the bullshit very, very, very clearly.
Well, let's be real clear. This is not about black and white. This is about right and left. And so the left believes that whatever they say, it's okay, even if it's blatantly racist.
Even if it's blatantly racist and wrong. You know what I mean? Even if it's blatantly racist and wrong. Like they would want you to think that all the stimulus and free money that they're giving is good, but it's really not for a capitalist society. That's not what we're built on. They're changing the country to Europe, you know what I'm saying, with UBI, Universal Basic Income. So they're leveling the playing field. So there's not going to be that opportunity for people who have that drive and passion to step up from the masses. No, they're trying to create it where what UBI is, you get that check every week, every month, regardless. You don't got to do nothing. So this is why people aren't rushing back to work. People are getting more money at home than they are at work. And mind you, high gas prices is the least of y'all problems.
Whatever a conservative says, it's blatantly wrong, no matter how true it may be. The biggest sad, I think, moment of all of this is that this is a great opportunity for people of color to be celebrating the fact that in America they can overcome extraordinary challenges. You know, Ben Carson is a great example of a person who grew up in genuine poverty. His mother cleaned houses of very wealthy white people. She noticed that they all had books in their house. She said, that's what's different. They all read books. She went home, turned off the TV, and told Ben and his brother they're going to start reading books. TV. He turned out to be the greatest pediatric heart or brain surgeon in the entire world. How? Was it because he was black? No, it had nothing to do with his color. It had to do with his ability. And it proved that his blackness did not hold him back. It would have been a culture that somehow gave him a low expectation. That's what we've got to get past.
Got it. Governor Huckabee, thank you very much for joining.
And then we got to go back one more time. When you talk about people who are called coons and sellouts, I got to go back to three people specifically, you know. Ivita King, who is the niece of Dr. Martin Luther King in Atlanta, Georgia. I go to the recently late Vernon Jordan. You Google Vernon Jordan, ex-Bill Clinton aide, you know, linked to every past president, extremely accomplished African-American male. He passed away, I think, late 2020 or early 2021. Vernon Jordan and billionaire Bob Johnson. Those three were supporters of 45. So you ask yourself, why would Vernon Jordan, someone who's been around since the 60s, I think he was the first CEO or director of the National Urban League. I don't think it's NAACP. I think he's the National Urban League. You know, he worked with Nixon. He worked with Carter. He worked with Reagan. He worked with Clinton. He worked with all these presidents. You know what I'm saying? It's been around, been in the struggle, was shot, you know what I'm saying, around Martin Luther King. He supported 45. Why would he support Alveda King, niece of Dr. Martin Luther King, supported 45? Why would Martin Luther King's niece support 45? And billionaire Bob Johnson, he's been around the block. Why would he support 45? Okay, fine. I don't even want to talk about other people like Kanye. And then you had people like, shrewd people like Jay Prince, when they asked him on Drink Champs that time, what is he? And he kept saying, he's a Republican. He's a Republican because he knows you're not going to have, he's his own man, so he doesn't have to tap dance like a lot of these motherfuckers do. But right, one person who's one of the biggest tap dancers right now is Bron. You know, that's why he's always jumping out the window. And then he's retracting and deleting tweets because he doesn't have all the information, but he's a super liberal agent. You know, he's a liberal agent. And I think that's going to hurt his legacy because if the one thing that he should notice that he's not is Magic, Michael, Kobe. These motherfuckers wasn't in this politics shit. They didn't let liberals or conservatives jump into their head directing them politically because it's bullshit. And he let that happen. You know, he let that happen because he has Barry in his ear, you know? Shit, gotta wake up, man. Y'all gotta wake the fuck up. For real. In Brooklyn, but I'm rocking the RIP Nip.